Today on Growing Bolder, the power of paddling.
What can we learn from our connection to the land? And what can we learn from our connection to other cultures? I'm Laura Savini, and I asked Irish singer and theologian Dr. Noreen Rian just that on today's Growing Bolder.
And how David Muir pushed past his limits to create a unique museum celebrating Caribbean culture.
You just have to believe that you can get past what seems like that fear, that stop that's there. You can't let it stop you. You got to push past that and find solutions. And there's solutions to everything.
These stories and more next on Growing Bolder. We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risks, and to help others. We are the most creative, fearless, passionate being that has ever walked the face of the earth. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of what's next. This is Growing Bolder. Hi, I'm Mark Middleton, and this is Growing Bolder. And while we're all trying to live in the moment, most of us are also thinking about what's next. And I think it's fair to say that at times we all feel like we're paddling upstream. We're working hard, but we're really not getting anywhere. Well, it turns out that paddling is literally the way forward, the path to what's next for many that we've interviewed. When he was 46 in a down economy, Ned Johnson made a bold move. He quit his job of 19 years to start a stand-up paddleboard business. It was a big gamble, but also a big opportunity. He started with just 4 boards and no employees. Today, he has a booming business, and his advice to the rest of us is pretty simple.
To keep your eyes open and not to have blinders on, because just because one thing doesn't work out exactly how you think it's going to work out, it could very well lead to the next best thing in your life.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Y'all rock, man. What is so grand about it is the broad appeal to share with people.
Life is good.
Life has never been better.
Jamison Thompson-Thomas is back on the water after a long and painful recovery from a serious traffic accident. After months of painful physical therapy, she's making a comeback in her late 50s, hoping to recapture the rhythm, the strength, and the speed that made her a U.S. National Masters rowing champion. Her message is similar to Ned's.
Carpe diem, go for it and believe in it and ignore the aches and pains and the cracks and the pops and the headaches and whatever you have.
You have to know you can feel, but then you have to know you can achieve. And once you've learned both, life just becomes a smile.
Rod Price was a successful businessman, but like so many, he wasn't happy. But unlike many, he was willing to take a chance to chase a dream. Rod discovered his passion in the grueling endurance sport of adventure canoeing. From the Amazon to the Yukon, he's paddled them all, racing the rivers of the world and testing the limits of his endurance while learning a major lesson about life.
Instead of measuring success by your income and your material possessions, it's basically doing what you want with your life, because life is such a precious commodity. Whatever you're doing, try to achieve something in life, and that helps validate your existence instead of just existing. Have something to show for your time here on Earth.
South Florida is a diverse, multicultural melting pot, so it's really no surprise that this area can lay claim to many ordinary people living extraordinary lives. Bill Schaefer joins us now to shine the spotlight on one who definitely brings something to the South Florida party.
Ever been in a situation where you stood out from everybody else? Man, it can really be uncomfortable. It can feel a lot safer just to kind of blend in. That is, unless you want to be an ordinary person living an extraordinary life. The more David Muir explored his culture and his heritage, the more he began to blossom as a person. Now he wants everyone to know how cool it is to be Caribbean.
Welcome to the Island Space Caribbean Museum. Come with me, join me. I want to show you what it's like to be in our space.
David Muir has done what no one else has even tried. He co-founded a museum to shine a light on a too often overlooked culture.
The people of the Caribbean have contributed so much to what exists in the world. And there's no place before this space that celebrates who we are. What you'll notice, which is really a part of what it is to be in the Caribbean, is to see color and to see culture and to see those things that are energetic and light and fun. Come on, let me take you on a journey. There's so many tidbits of information that have bombarded me now. I'm excited by history in a way I've never been excited before, and I never would have thought that this was my journey.
David's journey began in Jamaica and then moved to America when he wanted to start a family. He was a musician, a photographer, social worker, teacher, searching everywhere for his purpose, even to the Big Apple.
We moved to New York City, and that was wonderful. We did a lot of great things, had a lot of fun in New York City, but that was not South Florida. By comparison, not that I want to say South Florida is better, but to me it's way better.
And it's where his life's work began to take focus. He started a company to produce the show Taste of the Caribbean, which ran on PBS and Create TV, and he loved it. He followed it up with a companion cookbook, started a traveling exhibit exploring Caribbean culinary culture, and suddenly there was no end to what he wanted to do.
Every time I said, well, I'm going to do this, and everybody says, oh, you can't do that. I was like, oh, well, you better watch out, because I'm gonna make it happen. There's nothing that someone would say, oh, you can't do that I would ever say, oh, no, you're right. No, I'm going to say, no, I am what I am.
And most important, he found a home in South Florida, a community eager to learn, to experience, and to celebrate. It was a community where David felt safe enough to be himself and proud enough to reach out to bring people together.
Why I think, the Caribbean culture is so important is that there are so many parts of it that are common, and then yet parts that are so completely different that it shows us what it is to be human. I mean, it's really about defining how we are in relation to everyone else. That's what culture is. And it's so important to feel that and to interact with that.
He assumed it would be years, maybe a decade, before he could ever pull together plans and funding for a museum. But when the pandemic shut everything else down, that was his opportunity, again, to prove that one ordinary person can be the catalyst behind creating something extraordinary.
If you help someone genuinely without any thought for yourself, they will help you forever. If you help people unconditionally, what you get in return is just so amazing. For the most part, I just plow through the fear. Like, I have the fear, but I don't let it stop any part of what I'm going to do. But you just have to believe that you can get past what seems like that fear, that stop that's there. You can't let it stop you. You got to push past that and find solutions. And there's solutions to everything. There really are.
That's just one of a number of unusual insights he's come to understand that we can all learn from.
Every phone call I get, I say good morning. And people are like, well, it's afternoon. Where are you? And I said, listen, I'm in a different time zone. My time zone is a place called happiness. It's not East Coast, West Coast. It's not Greenwich Meridian. I have my own time zone. So I'm always in the morning. I'm always on top of the world. I'm always happy. And just having that as my predefined mindset changes everyone's dynamic around me because I'm always in a good mood.
You seem, though, like a guy who feels like his best years, his most interesting adventures are yet to come.
Definitely, without question. The next 5 to 10 years are going to be crazy amazing. It's just going to be so much fun because I haven't had a worse year yet. Like, it just keeps getting better. I never in 1,000 years would have thought that doing a book on my culture, on my country, telling my story through images of what my culture is like, that I would end up being invited to speak at Notre Dame University on culture. I would never have dreamt that. I just feel as though when you have purpose, that purpose leads you to greater purposes and they multiply. So it's been really great. Age is something I celebrate. I am happy to be wiser. I'm happy to have more experiences. The next 10 to 20, that feels like it should be pretty awesome. It should be good.
Very, very charismatic person. And he may not even be thinking about it now, but what David Muir is doing through his projects is leaving a legacy. One of the best examples of what that means comes from Jim Henson. Yep, the guy who created the Muppets. He did it to show us the different characteristics that are somewhere inside of us all. When he died suddenly, he left quite a void, but looking back through the eyes of his daughter only reinforces what he left us.
Because definitely my dad's story is an extraordinary story, because he was a farmer. He grew up the son of a farmer in Mississippi, you know, and then to achieve this, he did not come from an entertainment family. He did not come from a wealthy family. He had an unstoppable optimism and belief that good overcomes evil and that truth will prevail. And you see that in his stories, you see that in his shows, but also in his own attitude and his own work.
Hi, I'm Laura Savini. The culture of a land does somehow soak into its people, and perhaps no more intensely than for those that call the Emerald Isle home. Recently, I interviewed Irish theologian and musician Dr. Noreen Nirian, known as the High Priestess of Gregorian chant. She spoke about the ability of cultures, and especially the Irish culture, to connect their past and adapt to the present.
Everywhere you turn in Ireland, there's a sacred site where thousands of years ago, people connected. People were interconnected and also connected with the divine. And of course, we'll all call the divine by a different name, all 7.5 billion people of us. But we know, and we've maintained it. And we are a great little country, Lord, because for our size, are we 5 million? I don't know. But we were the first to bring in legislation, of course, for same-sex marriages. Overnight, we threw out our plastic bags, and we all now carry our little bags in the car, our ecological bags. We don't smoke anymore indoors. And we're just a great, and as you say, 4 Nobel poets for literature. And I think, too, we have at this troubled time, too, Laura, I really feel Ireland has a lot to contribute to peace and to a new way of being, a new way of living. We call it here, this COVID time, this time of a virus, we call it cocooning. Mm-hmm. And I think that's quite a good term, because we are beavering away, ready to emerge with new energy, new possibilities, new life, new directions for the world.
You can listen to my entire interview with Noreen Nirian and more at growingbolder.com/TV.
Hi, I'm Amy Sweezy from Growing Boulder. In 1968, a researcher named George Land devised a creativity test for NASA to help select innovative engineers and scientists for the astronaut program. The assessment worked so well, he decided to try it on children. He tested the creativity of 1,600 kids ranging in age from 3 to 5 years old who were enrolled in a Head Start program. He retested those same children at 10 years of age and again at 15. The results were astounding. At the age of 5, the children showed 98% creativity. At 10, they were just 30% creative. And by the age of 15, their creativity had dropped to 12%. When the same test was given to adults, only 2% showed creativity. What Mr. Land concluded was that non-creative behavior is learned. All humans start off as creative geniuses. So what happens to us? For most people, creativity gets buried in rules and regulations. Our education system trains us to be good workers and follow instructions. When we were young, we were encouraged to develop our artistic natures. But at some point, it all went away. But all is not lost now. There is hope. We can learn creative skills, not by sitting in a lecture, but by applying creative thinking processes. Trevor Strong is a creativity consultant from Ontario, Canada. He recently told Growing Bolder that tapping into your creativity sometimes means being willing to make a mess.
A lot of people, they want everything to be perfect right away, and that stops them from doing something. And you really got to make a bit of a mess. Find something you want to do and just start doing it. And then don't worry about having all the skills first, or don't worry about doing it the right way or who else is doing it. Just start doing it. If you're doing it for yourself, like, really, who cares if you're doing it the right way? You're just doing it, right?
Researchers from the University of California in Berkeley found that observing nature and art both boost the immune system. In other words, seeing the Grand Canyon, visiting the Sistine Chapel, or listening to Ave Maria all have the ability to lower levels of chemicals that cause inflammation and can trigger diabetes, heart attacks, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and other illnesses. The benefits of creative engagement are significant, whether active or passive, and they are available to everyone at every age.
Ever wonder what it would be like to be a celebrity? Well, Mark Miro became one, a pro wrestling champion. He packed arenas, he was live on national TV, but inside he was empty and lost. It wasn't until the unexpected death of his mother that it all became clear to him, and now he moves forward so he can give back. Like any other kid who grew up in poverty, Mark Miro dreamed of finding a way out.
I remember getting out of my bed and going over that little broken down desk and that little book and writing, I want to get my mom a house. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to be somebody.
He became somebody in professional wrestling. The kid who grew up with nothing fought his way up to everything. He hung with presidents, got to meet living legends, partied with rock stars, and posed with superstars. Heck, he'd even become a superstar himself as Johnny B. Bad, action figure and all.
Johnny B. Bad was such a fun character because it was so opposite of who I am. I'm so outrageous, it's contagious. I don't sit down, I get down. So it's this real fun, crazy character, But when you strip all that away, you take off all the wrestling outfits and all the glamour, and you just go, hey, this is who I really am. I'm a drug addict. I've lived a bad life. I've done some stupid things. I lost the most important people in my life without ever being there for them. And this is who I am. I made some really bad mistakes.
When his wrestling career ended, Miro felt lost. The man who once filled arenas mostly sat home alone, empty, lonely, searching for a purpose. Maybe, he thought, he could speak at schools, help kids avoid some of his mistakes. So he set up a few presentations, and nobody cared.
I try to use statistics and tell kids don't do this or don't, and people just sitting on their hands going, when's this guy gonna finish,
He was a flop. As a last resort, he threw out the statistics and began to speak from the heart, to tell deeply personal stories. He started to make a connection. His longtime friend from wrestling, Diamond Dallas Page, noticed. He sent a video crew to one of Mark's presentations and posted this clip online of one of Miro's most powerful moments, remembering his mother's funeral.
Mom, please wake up. Please get up. And then I finally got the nerve to walk up to her. And as I got closer, I could see my mom for the first time. She was so beautiful. She was dressed in white. She looked like an angel. And I just stood over and I said, Mom, you are my hero. Everything I am, everything I hope to be was because of you. You loved me so much, you gave me a life. You're the only one that ever believed in me. How did I repay her? By getting drunk, by getting high, by getting stupid, by hanging out with losers? For what? All she ever wanted to do was talk to me. I wish I could talk to you now, Mom. I wish you could see what I'm doing. Why couldn't I have been a better son? We are defined by our choices. But if you surround yourself with people involved in drugs and alcohol and pills, it's a dead end. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm here to tell you I lived that life. It leads to broken hearts, broken relationships, broken dreams, and death. For what? To get high? If you have a mother or a father, when you go home, tell them how much you love them. See, my whole life was about being rich and famous. I had to be a millionaire. I had to win the race. I had to win the race at the expense of my marriage, my family, my friends. For what? To be all alone in the world? I learned what is truly important, and that is how precious this gift of life is.
What happened next took him completely by surprise. The video went viral, had millions of views. Speaking requests came flooding in from all over the country, along with notes from students thanking him for changing and sometimes saving their lives.
You gotta believe. Say, I believe. I believe. I believe.
In his mid-50s, Mark Miro had found his purpose and a whole new way of looking at life.
Bill, when you think about as adults, we become very complacent in our life. One day becomes the next, and we say things like this: I always wished I would have done that, or those were the days. No, these are the days. These are the days that we can accomplish anything we set our mind to. Learn from past mistakes, grow, go after those dreams and goals that lie dormant inside. Maybe someone's wanted to write a book. Maybe they want to open a business. Maybe they want to rekindle a relationship with a family member they haven't talked to in a while. Now is the time. Today is the day. Go after dreams and goals.
Mark Miro's goal was to be champion. He achieved it in the ring, but now he's a champion on a whole new level. Only this time, it means everything.
See, it's not what's in your pocket that matters. It's what's in your heart that truly matters. Love. Love is just a word until somebody comes along and gives it meaning. You're the meaning.
Exercising, and there's really nothing off limits that you can do. If you work hard, there's no telling what you can accomplish.
Reading Growing Bolder, I have to tell you, and the kind of stuff that you say, and I just need to keep moving.
How much is Growing Bolder responsible for your success today?
The Growing Bolder attitude is responsible for all of it. I was just glad I found somebody that's preaching it.
I found out about Growing Bolder, and I'm excited because it has changed my thinking.
Dr. Bill Thomas is an internationally renowned gerontologist and contributor to Growing Bolder. In fact, he was a featured speaker at our special live event, Growing Bolder's Launchpad to What's Next, which aired on public television stations nationwide. And he's got a message for you. Our society is whacked.
Actually, I've been really interested my whole career in how do people live life on their own terms. And this is an important question in aging because our society is whacked. This idea that, you reach majority, so 18 years old, 20 years old, and then you live life, calling your own shots, and then some day appears where they're like, no, we're taking you off the field. You're gonna sit over here. We're gonna wrap you in cotton. You're not gonna do anything anymore. That is a horrible assault on your humanity, on your dignity, your autonomy. So I've really been interested in what are the tools of independence? How do you get more of that in your life? And it's funny because you might think it would be the right medicines or the right supplements or vitamins or, I don't know, the right exercises. The biggest thing actually is where you live. Where you live and the space you inhabit has a major impact in your life story.
Unfortunately, far too many older adults live alone in a home that doesn't support their independence. It's not safe or practical, or they live in an underfunded nursing home that has no ability to keep them engaged. And more often than not, family members aren't helping. Many older adults are single, divorced, or widowed, and families are now fragmented, living hundreds, if not thousands, of miles apart. With 10,000 men and women turning 65 every day, we're now facing a widening caregiving gap. There's more older people and fewer younger people to provide care. It's a demographic dilemma that will not resolve itself. We, as a society, have to more fully appreciate the value of older citizens, as well as our obligation to not only keep them safe, but also to keep them engaged. Because no matter what conditions we might have, we never lose the ability to experience love and joy, and it's our duty as a culture to do everything we can to help the oldest among us experience that. Because that's Growing Bolder. We'll see you next time.
Watch previous seasons of Growing Bolder plus bonus stories via our new free streaming app. More information at growingbolder.com/TV. And you can get inspired to plan your what's next when you connect with the Growing Bolder community on Facebook. Show the world you're growing bolder with official Growing Bolder products. Growing Bolder tees and hats are available for $25 each. Custom mugs are $15, and inspiring Tear and Share postcards featuring original artwork and bold messages are $15 plus shipping and handling. All items are available at growingbolder.com/shop.